When you own a secluded property tucked deep in the mountains, you get used to quiet mornings, fresh air, and the kind of peace money can't buy. My cabin mansion, yes. I call it that because it's more than just a cabin sat on 30 acres of prime forest land, with a wraparound porch, stone fireplace big enough to roast a whole deer, floor-to-ceiling windows facing the lake. It wasn't just a vacation home. It was the crown jewel of my life's worker place, I built after 35 years in the construction business. Every log was hand-selected, every beam set by me and my crew. No HOA, no city rules. No Karen neighbors telling me what I could or couldn't do. Or so I thought. Unfortunately, Karen found me anyway. The arrival of trouble. I first met Karen about a year after finishing the cabin mansion. She was president of a nearby HOA for a luxury subdivision 5 miles down the mountain. The subdivision had paved streets, manicured lawns, and houses so close you could smell your neighbor's barbecue from your bedroom window. I wanted none of that, hence my remote location. One day, I stopped by the only local general store for supplies. There she was, a woman in her late 50s. Platinum blonde hair and an aggressive bob, giant sunglasses even indoors, and a voice that carried across the room like she was narrating for the hard of hearing. I didn't even have to introduce myself. She marched right up and said, "Oh, you're the one who bought that property on Lake Pine Ridge. We've been meaning to talk to you about joining the HOA." I politely explained that I wasn't part of their subdivision, didn't need their services, and wouldn't be joining. She gave me the tight-lipped smile I would come to know all too well. The one that said, "This isn't over." The unexpected trip home. Fast forward to last winter. I had been out of state for several weeks visiting my daughter and grandkids in Florida. My plan was to stay until mid-February, but my daughter's family caught the flu. She didn't want me to risk getting sick. So I decided to head back home early without telling anyone in town I was returning. I arrived on a Wednesday afternoon. Snow still blanketed the ground, and the long driveway up to my cabin looked untouched. No tire tracks, no footprints, at least that's what I thought, until I got closer. That's when I noticed them, faint tracks in the snow, leading from the tree line toward my back porch. Sign something was off. When I stepped onto the porch, I saw something else that made my stomach twist. My welcome mat was missing. In its place was a different mat that said, "Bless this mess." The porch furniture had been rearranged. A pair of muddy boots sat by the door, and they definitely weren't mine. I unlocked the front door slowly, bracing myself for a raccoon invasion or maybe a busted pipe emergency. Instead, I was greeted by the smell of fresh coffee brewing. My heart pounded. Somebody was inside my home. The unwanted tenant. I stepped into the living room, and there she was, Karen, standing in my kitchen, wearing my robe, holding my favorite mug. She froze, then had the audacity to glare at me. "What are you doing here?" she demanded, as if I was the intruder. "I live here," I said, trying to keep my voice level. "What are you doing in my house?" She tossed her hair and said, "Oh, please. You've been gone for weeks. The property was just sitting here, unused. I've been keeping it warm for you. The HOA doesn't like to see good homes sit empty." My jaw dropped. "You're not in my HOA, and this isn't your business." "You broke in?" Karen didn't flinch. The back door was unlocked. I knew that was a lie. Always locked every door before leaving. Karen calls the cops. I told her to pack her things and get out immediately. Instead of obeying, she pulled out her phone, dialed 911, and said, "Yes, I'd like to report a man trespassing in my rental property." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was claiming my cabin mansion as her own. The dispatcher apparently told her they were sending a deputy. She smirked and said, "We'll see who they believe." The sheriff arrives about 20 minutes later. A county sheriff's SUV pulled into the driveway. I stepped outside to meet him, and Karen followed, still wearing my robe. She started talking over me before the sheriff could say a word. "Officer, thank you for coming. This man broke in while I was staying here. I have been renting this cabin for 2 weeks." The sheriff looked at me, then at her, then back at me. "Sir, do you have proof you own this property?" I smiled. "Better. I have keys, the deed, and security footage." I pulled up my cabin's remote security camera feed on my phone, which clearly showed Karen breaking in through a side window 2 weeks earlier. Then hauling in suitcases, Karen's smugness evaporated. She started stammering about how she thought it was abandoned and meant no harm. The real story comes out once the sheriff started pressing her. The real story spilled out. Apparently Karen's nephew had been visiting from out of state, and she wanted to impress him by letting him stay in a lakefront luxury property. She didn't own one, so she decided mine would do. She'd been living here herself for most of the time, enjoying my fireplace, my hot tub, my wine collection. She even slept in my master bedroom. The sheriff asked if I wanted to press charges. I didn't hesitate. Breaking and entering, theft, trespassing, unauthorized occupancy. The list was long. Karen's arrest, when the handcuffs clicked shut. Karen started shrieking about how this was all a misunderstanding. The sheriff calmly read her rights and led her to the SUV. Her last words before the door closed. HOA. We'll hear about this. I just laughed. Good. Tell them I said hi. The aftermath, it turned out Karen had actually told several people in town that I had asked her to look after the place while I was gone. She even invited her book club. Over one night, my security cameras caught it, all wind glasses clinking in the living room. Women wandering through my bedrooms like they were on a real estate tour. She ended up with a long list of charges and a court date. Her HOA board tried to distance themselves from her immediately, saying she acted entirely in a personal capacity. I made sure to install an even more robust security system, motion sensors, reinforced locks, and cameras with live audio. Justice served when her court date came. I showed up with my evidence neatly organized. The judge didn't waste time. Karen was found guilty of trespassing, breaking and entering, and theft. Miss Korea was ordered to pay restitution for the property damage and the value of the wine she drank. She also got a 6-month suspended sentence and probation, with the condition that she'll have no contact with me or my property as she left the courthouse. She shot me a look that could curdle milk. But I didn't care. Justice had been served, my peace restored these days. I'm back to enjoying my mornings by the lake, my coffee on the porch, and the knowledge that no one's squatting in my home while I'm away. The best part? Every time I drive past that HOA subdivision, I see Karen's former position listed as vacant on their sign, apparently. Breaking into someone else's cabin mansion isn't great for your reputation, and if she ever thinks about coming back, well, let's just say the cameras are always rolling.